Hello. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation, hosted by the Delaware Department of Justice for National Consumer Protection Week. I'm your moderator, Diana Anderson, and I'm a paralegal in the Consumer Protection Unit at the Delaware Department of Justice. During this presentation, our panelists will be discussing social media platforms, some common scams found on popular platforms, and what caregivers can do to better protect their children from the risks associated with social media usage in minors. Joining us today, our first speaker, Kimberly Wharton, the Communications Director for AARP Delaware. During her 15 years with AARP, she has led numerous campaigns to expand awareness of the AARP brand and advocate for issues that made life better for Delawareans. Her background includes public affairs and governmental relations throughout the greater Philadelphia region. Our second speaker is John Miller Steiger, the Director of the Federal Trade Commission's regional office covering Delaware and 7 other states. And our third and final speaker is Ryan Costa, the Deputy Director of Consumer Protection at the Delaware Department of Justice and the father of 4. Take it away, Kim.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that I'm so happy to join all of you today for this discussion and to share some helpful tips so that people can really enjoy social media the right way. Here at AARP, we aim to make life better for older Americans, and Delaware is no exception. And so we know that older Americans are increasingly using social media, especially Facebook, which is used by half of those age 65 and older. And as more and more older adults are living alone, social media can have many benefits to aid them during their aging process. Social media can provide meaningful social content and connection with family that lives far away. Online communities, when used the right way, can provide social support and educational tips for living well as you age. It really bridges generational divides and brings families together. However, as with most things in life, you should always arm yourself with knowledge to stay safe and protect your valuable and hard-earned money. 23% of scammers targeted people age 50 to 59 on social media in 2022. And people 80 and over tend to lose more money to fraud than any other age group, and they often don't have the ability to earn that money back. AARP has a fraud helpline, and I'd like to share with you what people have been reporting to us recently. Here's what we've heard, on our AARP helpline. I'm going to focus on some of the most popular social media platforms that are out there. The platform Nextdoor, which is a platform that's kind of branded as a local hub for people who live in your neighborhood. And it has a large percentage of users who are over the age of 60. People on Nextdoor often put out notes looking for house cleaning services or handyman work, even asking about cars for sale. And most of the time, it's all legitimate. However, AARP has received calls on our fraud helpline reporting fake contractors on Nextdoor, fake vehicles for sale, and even people offering to babysit. The most important warning sign to look for when responding to someone on this platform is someone who asks for payment in advance. With fake contractors in particular, we've seen them asking for a down payment so they can purchase supplies for your fix-it job. It's a good rule of thumb to pay once service is completed all the time. So be leery of that. And Facebook is used by half of those age 65 and older, and 3/4 or 75% of those age 50 to 64. It's the most popular social media platform among AARP members as well. Fraud on this platform spans the gamut of fake charity donations, games that you click on and then they can tap into your computer, fake coupons, and even job offers where they ask for your social security number so they can set up, automatic payment for you with a paycheck. The grandparent scams on Facebook are continuing to get more and more dubious. We've been hearing about grandparent scams for quite a few years, but it's even more prevalent now because scammers can look on different social media platforms and find out what your grandkids look like, where they go to school, what their name is, what they like to do. And people are actually calling grandparents and for example, saying that they're calling from the emergency room and their grandchild is in need of care and they need a credit card, or that your grandchild has been arrested and needs bail money. So please be on the lookout for some of those very leery scams. And on Instagram, which is really increasingly popular among those 50 plus, it does tend to skew a little bit with a younger audience, but people 50 plus are connecting with celebrities on Instagram. They like to look at a lot of travel photos, and they're connecting with their grandchildren on Instagram. What we've seen are celebrity impersonators targeting older users with tickets to purchase, memorabilia, and things like that. And also phony travel offers are very popular on Instagram. So some tips to sort of keep yourself safe and keep people off of your account so that they can gather information about you is to use strong passwords. Include a capital letter, a number, and a symbol, and change your password frequently if you're able to do that. Opt in for what's called two-factor authentication. This is where they send a text to code to your phone when you log on to a site. That really helps keep scammers off your site. If you're not going to use your social media account any longer, delete your unused account rather than just deactivate it. And you can ask the platform to do that for you, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. They can actually delete what's already on there so no one can see it. And the best tip I can give you really is to think before you act and avoid those impulsive clicks with the mouse, and be wary of anyone who asks you for payments on social media, credit cards, social security numbers, or any other personal information on a site. You can also ask a friend or do a Google search to give yourself some time to think. Please remember to enjoy the many benefits of social media and really learn to use it wisely. It's more than possible to have fun, find friends, and stay safe. Thanks for this opportunity. I believe we're going to have John Steiger talk next.
My name is John Miller Steiger, and I want to thank the Delaware Department of Justice for putting this program together. Let me say at the outset that these are my views, and they do not necessarily represent the views of the Commission or any particular commissioner. For over 100 years, the Federal Trade Commission has been protecting consumers, both individuals and businesses, from those who would illegally take their money. Whether it's through abusing monopoly power, making false advertisements, promoting get-rich-quick schemes or other scams, these operations aim to take your money. And the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, uses all the powers at its disposal to stop them. Recently, scammers and false advertisers of all kinds have turned to social media to reach the people they're trying to take advantage of. A proposed settlement announced this month shows how your personal information can get onto social media and what happens when it gets there. The settlement was with GoodRx, a legitimate company that many of you may use. It offers coupons and discounts on drugs and other medical products. While doing so, it was collecting information from its customers and from the pharmacies the customer shopped at using their GoodRx discounts. What its customers did not know was that GoodRx put little pieces of software from social media companies like Google on the GoodRx app and on their website. These pieces of software fed people's medical information to advertising arms of social media companies like Facebook. So, for example, if someone used GoodRx to submit a coupon for a discount on Viagra, the person would start seeing ads on Facebook for erectile dysfunction products, even if they had never said anything about those products on Facebook. The FTC alleges that this violated the health breach notification rule by disclosing health information without users' permission, and that it was deceptive because GoodRx promised in their privacy policy not to share this information. And GoodRx is a legitimate established company. Imagine what those fly-by-night operations are doing with your personal information on social media. Under the FTC's proposed settlement, the first of its kind, GoodRx would pay a $1.5 million civil penalty. It would also be prohibited from sharing health data with any third parties for advertising purposes, and it would need its customers' permission to share any data with anyone. The GoodRx case was one new example of the risks of social media, but a lot of the bad activity on social media is actually old wine in new bottles. The Federal Trade Commission has some tips on how consumers can protect themselves on social media. First, pause and think twice before you respond to a post on Facebook, Instagram, or other social media. Are you dealing with a name you recognize? Just because someone reaches out to you on social media doesn't mean they are part of your social circle. Be careful with people you don't recognize, even if they have or claim to have a connection to a friend of yours. It's easy for scammers to look online, find out who you're friends with, and claim they're friends too. If it is a name you recognize, are they acting strangely? Social media accounts get hacked all the time, so you may get a message from someone that actually is a friend or relation. So if someone you know is making a strange request, like asking you to send them money right away, don't respond on social media. Reach out to them using an email or a phone number that you already have. Either way, before you give anyone on social media any personal or financial information, talk to someone you know and trust. Also, pause and think twice if anyone on social media asks you to send them money. If someone asks you to wire them money, it's a scam. Stop communicating with them and report them to the FTC or the Attorney General's office. If someone asks you to buy gift cards, like Apple or Amazon gift cards, it's a scam. Stop communicating with them. Contact the gift card company right away and report them to the FTC or the Attorney General's office. Scammers often have people buy gift cards and then read them the numbers on the back, which basically gives the bad guys untraceable cash. Sometimes, thanks to ongoing pressure from the FTC, if you reach the company that issued the gift card, like Apple or Amazon, you might be able to get your money back before it gets to the bad guys. So do be careful when you're dealing with social media.
Thank you, John. My name is Ryan Costa. I'll be the last speaker today, and I'll be using my time to talk about social media and younger users. According to recent polling, half of children aged 10 to 12 use social media. For children ages 7 to 9, it's a third. And this is true despite most social media platforms having policies requiring their users to be 13 or older. Earlier this year, the U.S. Surgeon General asserted even that wasn't good enough. He recommended that children under the age of 16 should not be allowed on social media. Legislation that would make 16 the law and require age verification has been introduced recently in both houses of Congress. So why the push to keep kids off social media? First and foremost, social media use is linked with a substantially increased risk of depression. To offer just a couple data points, since 2010, as social media has become widespread, the rate of U.S. teens with major depression has increased by 150%. More directly, for girls that are not on social media at all, the rate of clinical depression is roughly 11%. For girls using social media 5 or more hours a day, which is common, the rate of depression jumps to almost 40%. In addition to depression, social media use is also associated with an increased risk of anxiety, self-harm, and other mental health issues. Also, and while it may seem counterintuitive, social media has been shown to make their users feel lonelier and negatively impact their social esteem, their self-esteem. That again is especially true for young girls. Moreover, these platforms are designed to be addictive, to keep the user on for as long as possible. And as a result, keep the user from doing other, potentially more positive things, physical activities, interacting with friends or relatives in person, even sleeping. And these are not the only risks posed by social media for young users. Social media makes it easy for kids to overshare personal or sensitive information. They expose kids to and possibly even promote dangerous viral trends like TikTok's infamous Blackout Challenge, and they can enable cyberbullying and online predators. So, what are parents to do? It's a huge, complicated problem, but here are a few tips to consider. First, keep your kids off social media for as long as possible. A huge number of Delaware's children, even those under the age of 13, are on social media. Many of them are accessing it via their smartphone, which the average child gets by the time he or she is 10. If you want your child to have a cell phone, no, that doesn't mean they have to have access to social media. There are phones on the market designed specifically for kids and options that either don't have or limit access to the internet. You might also consider talking to other parents. It's a lot easier to keep your kids off social media if they aren't the only one. And lead by example. Again, it'll be easier to convince your kids they don't need to use social media if you aren't thumbing through your Instagram feed during dinner. And that leads into my next tip. Talk to your kids. Maintain an open line of communication and set clear expectations. If they are on social media, tell them what is off limits and why. Tell them what is unacceptable behavior and why. Help your kids understand what information is okay to share and what should never be shared online. Make sure they understand that what's posted in the internet is there forever, even if it's something they delete or something that is supposed to disappear, like a Snapchat. Next, limit the time that your kids can be online. You can either set a cap on the amount of time per day, or alternatively, fix times when they are not allowed online or on social media. For example, your family may make a rule of no social media before they finish their homework, during dinner, and the last hour before bed. Figure out something that works for your family. And then finally, keep devices out in the open and out of the bedroom. Making sure devices are in areas you can see them will discourage kids from doing things they shouldn't be doing. And keeping them out of the bedroom is especially important. Kids who have internet access in their rooms are the kids most likely to seek out unsuitable content and have inappropriate or even dangerous interactions. And kids who need sleep the most are shown to lose sleep when they can access the internet and social media in their bedroom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan, and everyone. This was very informative and an important message. Just a couple questions. If your child is on social media, are there any tools you can use to reduce the risks?
Yes, there are tools, though of course none are perfect. Many phones allow you to track how much time the user, your child, is on social media or on the phone in general. So you can use that as a gauge. You can and should review the privacy settings on the social media sites that your children frequent and adjust those settings to limit who can view their profile. Many of the platforms also make tools and resources available specifically for parents and younger users. Two examples are Snapchat and Instagram, which both have what they call family centers. And you should also finally just consider joining the social networks that your children use to see the comments, the images, the videos that they are posting or being exposed to.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Now, John, what are some of the powers the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, has available to use against these bad actors on social media platforms to protect the consumers?
Well, the first thing I would say is actually events like this, which is why it's so great that you all are putting this together, because we've found that if consumers are informed about what the issues are, they are much better at protecting themselves. They are much better at protecting their friends and their family, and they can help get the word out on what people can do in order to avoid the scams in the first place. But of course, we do have responsibility to bring a number of other tools to bear. And one of our most powerful is going into federal court. So we have statutes and we have regulations that give us the authority to go in and stop scams, whether they are on social media or on the telephone or by mail. We can go to federal court and ask for a federal court order that shuts down the operation or that at least stops the misconduct. And depending on what they have actually violated, what laws or rules they have actually violated, we might have the ability to impose a civil penalty. And we might even be able to get some money back to the people who lost money to the scammers in the first place.
Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us. This video is one in a series, so make sure you check out our other videos spotlighted for this year's new National Consumer Protection Week. Special thank you to Kim, John, and Ryan. Have a great day.